Welcome to the Talk and Tarot Show. The second season, y'all, is going down. Let me start calling in my guests. Very, very special guests coming in, y'all.
Hey, everyone.
Holla. As regards to the things we've been taught about religion, like myself, for instance, about my God was Jehovah and my Savior was Jesus. Okay, so we're going to be discussing these deities today. And by the way, my name is Nairi Sanchez. Because we've been just y'all be patient with us. second season. So we having a little hiccup. I'm having the hiccups. So anyway, I have a guest joining us here today, Jordan Kinzer. Very powerful shaman, psychic medium as well. He's definitely into the craft. So he knows about deities. I learned a lot from him about that. He's going to be talking about that today. So I'm going to pull in an energy using my special talking tarot deck, and he's going to close us out with an energy. So calling in the energy for today's talking tarot subject. Since it's calling in the quantum energy to call in today's subject. Ooh, you have the Three of Swords. That's interesting. And that's interesting because a lot of people are very disappointed and hurt when they find out a lot of the things they were taught to believe are not factual. There's actually esoteric meaning behind it. So this Three of Swords, this used to be me, as well as a lot of other people that's going to wind up seeing this video. And this is why I feel like this is so important. So Jordan, I'm going to give the floor to you to introduce yourself and tell everybody who you are and what you do.
All right. Well, I'm Jordan. I work here at Wick and Candle. I'm a tarot reader and practicing shaman healer. And spirituality is my whole thing. I've been connected to it since I was a kid. I too have been through some religious related friction, if you will, and some crazy spiritual experiences that put me on this path today. And as Nairi knows, this is my whole purpose of getting people on board and kind of looking into why and how and where things happen in life and what's connected to them. Deities are a big part of that for me. They weren't at first, but they are now.
Yeah.
You can't ignore it.
So Jordan, like, what was some of your paranormal, first of all, how old were you when you started to discover you had these experiences, and what were they like?
So I was 5. That is my earliest memory of anything out of the usual happening. It started as the kind of things that go bump in the night, you know, the eyes looking out at you from the closet and things that people pass off as night terrors and nightmares and an overactive imagination. And years went by and the thing stayed. And I had to figure out how to deal with it. It was following my family, it would follow me. We moved a lot and those eyes still stayed.
What was that like for you to deal with emotionally?
It was hard. Like I said, my earliest memory of that was 5 years old, and I didn't really open up to people about it till I was around 13. I struggled with it. Like, I wouldn't sleep in my room. I would run and sleep in my grandmother's room from probably around 5 to 10. It was a lot, and my family knew something was wrong, but they didn't know beyond the overactive imagination. And you know, my parents watched horror movies. It was their favorite. It was, you know, the late 90s, early 2000s, and you know, all kinds of stuff was on the TV, but I didn't watch it. Blood terrified me. I hated, you know, horror movies and everything like that. Of course, I love them now, knowing what I know, but back then.
You know, a lot of our experiences, as far as you and I go, are very, 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 it's so similar, it's almost scary.
Yeah.
What was your first psychic ability? What was it that happened that you knew at that point something strange was going on?
Yeah. when I was a kid, I would see spirit very, very clearly. I mean, they looked no different than anyone walking on the street. They were kind of, transparent in a way. They were kind of see-through. Like, I knew that they weren't people, but it was hard to distinguish that. And it eased up as I got older. They say kids are born with their third eye wide, wide open, and I believe it. But we're trained to push it down. We're trained that that's bad. That is not a gift. That's a, gift from Satan, maybe. But no,
I can completely now relate to why this Three of Swords showed up.
mm-hmm.
Because a lot of people still carry a lot of emotion behind those experiences. I'm one of them. It's hard to talk about some things without getting emotional. It's hard to talk about this because it's something that people would never understand unless they actually experience it, and you get discredited so much from people because of religion. So that brings us into our main subject, deity. Okay, because when I grew up Jehovah's Witness, Christian religion. I was taught that Jehovah was the only true God and Jesus was the only true Savior, and all the other gods were false and fake, and they were all demonic religions. And if you don't serve Jehovah, you're going to die at Armageddon, and all of this type of stuff. So it did a lot of damage emotionally and mentally to me, as well as a lot of other people.
Nairi. I was just shuffling.
Wow.
You can't make that up.
You can't make it up. You can't.
Three of Swords. It is. It's pain. It's mental. It's mental.
And a lot of people feel suffering behind these belief systems because they don't know how to put any of these things into perspective. And that's where people like us come in at, because they laughed about us, they called us crazy, but now it's getting to a point to where you have the Three of Swords and I got the Three of Swords, that's the Six of Swords. A lot of people now are coming to people like us to get this clarity so that they can find some kind of peace and solace in their lives, to bring some resolve to all of this turmoil that they've been going through spiritually and emotionally and energetically. So Jordan, talk to us about deities. Who are they? Who are they? Let's just talk about that first.
Sure. So, in introducing myself, through all of those experiences, I grew up in a Christian household. They weren't the type that forced the Bible on me, or they don't go to church. It was just a, generational thing. It had always been. And through my, paranormal / supernatural experiences, my mom, my grandma, they would turn to, Jesus. They would come in my room, and when things were throwing the books off my shelf and they were scratching me in the middle of the night, my grandma would come in, with the book, and she'd be like, you have no power here. You have nothing over my grandson. And it didn't help. She tried her best, but it wasn't the solution. So at 7 years old, I started researching the supernatural. I would go to the library and look up books on ghosts. It started as a very, what else does a 7-year-old do?
Right.
And through that research, it brought me to Wicca originally, the craft. And Wicca books will always stress the need for deities, for a god and a goddess to dedicate your path to, dedicate your energy to. And I struggled with that for a long time because we had been trying to call on God to help me, and it wasn't working. So I was like, well, why am I expecting some force from out of nowhere to come help me? Like, who am I?
Right.
And at 16, I got that first Wicca book that was going over gods and goddesses, and I was like, I don't know who mine is. My 16th birthday, I started having dreams. And it was this recurring dream for weeks of this woman with this long dress, hood, keys along her belt, carrying a torch. She was coming at me. She was on this dirt path, and she got closer and closer every night, talking, and I couldn't hear her. It was like her voice was either too deep or kind of underwater. I knew she was talking, but I didn't have a concept of it.
Right.
But for weeks, she would just get closer and closer, and I saw that she had this full moon with 2 crescent moons on the side on her kind of corset belt thing. And in that Wicca book, that's the triple goddess of the moon. So that was my first instance of, hey, this goddess-like person is trying to come through.
Wow.
So from that dream, I looked up, torch-bearing goddesses, goddesses with keys, and Hecate, straight up, right off the bat. Keys to open doors and torches to light the way, and mist and fog and mystery. That was her.
Now, Jordan, based off of that experience, right, there's people that say that God talks to them, that Jesus talked to them, Jesus came to them, that, they had an experience with some sort of angelic being, Michael, what's that angel's name?
Raphael?
Archangel Michael came to me and told me that.
Yeah.
Now, they believe that there's a man living in the sky, and his name is God or Jehovah or Jesus or the Lord. Or how would you explain to people that these are deities no different from the goddess Hecate, no different from the ancient Egyptian god Haru or Horus, no different from Buddha and all the rest of the deities that other cultures attest to? How would you explain to these people that their gods are different from what they've been taught to believe that they are?
Well, this has kind of come just with the territory of, working where I work and, researching what I've researched. But I think it's all the same thing. It is one archetype up there. And it's going to change its face depending on who you are, where you are in the world. Why would, a kid in India see a white-skinned, blue-eyed, blonde-haired god? You wouldn't.
Just the fact that you said that, right? Because that is complete reality. That's logic, right? The thing that melanated people go through as a nation, as a culture, especially, you can't even say that it's just here in the United States, because it's even in Africa, in melanated places. They, in their mind, have attained this European deity, which is Jesus. When they think about God, they don't see themselves. When they think about deities and saviors, they don't see themselves. What would you say to that kind of teaching? Because this is where you get a lot of this Three of Swords energy from. When there's a lot of division and separation, family separation, relationship, people in general, when it comes to social status, all of that, there's a division with that. Because if you tell people that look like me that their God shouldn't look like anybody else outside of them, they will ostracize you, they will get mad at you, they will break up friendships, your own family will outcast you for coming to this reality. How would you explain what you just said about a kid in India? It wouldn't even be logical for them to see a deity that don't look like them. How could you explain how deities work in that way?
Right. I mean, it goes back to ancient times. There are, at some point in history, a little kid in India doesn't even know white people exist. He's probably never seen one. So why would his God look like that? His God would be tan-skinned, dark-skinned with, and animals come into play. Every deity, every God has at least one animal associated with it, if not, 10.
Mm.
They merge with the symbolism.
Now that's interesting you brought up animals, because in ancient Egypt, their deities were animal heads. They
Mm-hmm.
didn't have human deities, so to speak. Their deities represented the birds, the lions,
Bat, the falcon.
and
Yeah,
and a lot of people don't see any of this as a correlation to their religious beliefs and how all of this stuff was regurgitated. So now you made a good point when you said most kids from India probably never even saw a European. This
right,
goes back to ancient Egypt, and I want to bring up how anything that's related to Egypt, you're going to see people that look like this.
right.
And this is going to be their status. King of Pentacles, they're going to be rulers and emperors and pharaohs and that type of stuff. They're going to have locks.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at the statues, you're going to see the Ramses. They're all going to have this locky hair. So clearly, back then, the high priestess and the emperors, and this is what they looked like. This is how they knew how to sustain their connection to God, or the gods were the planets in the
Right,
astrological realm for them. And then now you look at religion, and all of their gods are, and deities and angelic creatures are European figures. But
right.
for some reason, our people don't get the illogical sense of why it's like that. This is
Yeah.
why these types of subjects are important, and you're the person to actually break down these deities. Now, when you came in contact with Hecate, what was her attributes as a goddess?
So Hecate is the Greek goddess of magic, of justice, of the underworld. She opens doors, and she doesn't take any bullshit either.
No.
She cuts right into it, and yeah, it's uncovering the truth, peeling back the layers of things. So naturally, and in my experience, she does come through to a lot of people that have been wronged, those that have been held back in situations, those that have,
So she's
you know,
about also like justice and
yep,
life and death. What other deities have you worked with that you can kind of talk about their attributes, and when is it good to use? How do you use these gods and goddesses?
yeah. So a big misconception with anything craft related and spiritual is, oh, you have to have an altar for this god. You have to choose, one god and goddess for your practice, and that's who you're devoted to. And that just isn't true. It just isn't. Not everyone's comfortable with it, for one. And a lot of people will spend so much time trying to find that one fit. And they come and go. I've connected to probably about 6 or 7 of them, like where I'm like, oh crap, I can actually work with them. They have something for me. And sometimes it's aesthetic, Sometimes you're looking at a statue of them and, you think they're beautiful and you just can't shake it. Or this one has an owl on her shoulder and I love owls. And this one has, a snake coiled around her waist and, I love snakes.
Right.
It can start as simple as that.
Because it's the attraction, something is connecting you to it. So a lot of people
Yeah.
don't realize that is your psychic ability. It's their navigation that's attracting you to this specific deity. Now,
Right.
when it comes to religion, right? As far as like the Baptist, the Catholic, the Christianity, because it's all to me the same thing. They just call themselves different, and they worship a little bit different. So I want to ask you now. And the Jehovah Witness religion, they don't, their God, their only God is Jehovah.
Mm-hmm.
But what they don't know about that deity is that that deity is directly related to Jolan, which is
Mm-hmm.
directly related to Baphomet
Sure.
and Baal and all the other gods that they serve in the Bible. I don't know how familiar you are with the Bible, but we know that they call them the Israelites. Now, all of this stuff is astronomical. All of it goes back to the planets and the stars. All of these gods are principles of nature. And they become real to us. They communicate with us because we are built from nature. We are what so is above is below. And religion wants to separate that. The governmental and political system wants to separate that. They want to keep people blinded from the truth about what connects us to the spiritual realm, what connects us to the mystic powers, what connects us to our own psychic abilities. They don't want us. And if you notice, even in this depiction, the energy is right here in the heart chakra.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't know how to connect the solar plexus and the heart chakra, then how do you connect the throat chakra, the crown, the third eye, and the root chakra? That means that you're
Right.
not going in the right direction. And so
Yep.
many people spend so much of their lives worshiping these gods and praying for things to happen, and nothing ever happens. Like you said earlier, your parents prayed to God and read the Bible, and none of it helped.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up the same way. None of it helped. It got to the point to where they told me I kept hearing voices and seeing people that they say are dead because the demons had, it was something about me the demons were attracted to. Now
Right.
you're telling a child that. You see,
Right.
it's so many people growing up fighting their psychic abilities, fighting this stuff. They're afraid of what we do because they think it's evil and demonic. And you
Right.
just made some extremely valid points about how a lot of people are even drawn to what we do. They're drawn to tarot card readings. They're drawn to doing candle work and lighting incense, but they're told to stay away from it because of their religion.
Right.
How would you explain the deity Jesus? Have you ever worked with Jesus in doing any of your craft work? First of all, explain what the craft is to people.
So the craft and my understanding of it, and I've been a practitioner of it for going on 10 years now, is it's all energy. It is all intent and manifestation and just vibing with all the things that click with you. If that's herbs, if that's stones, if that's tarot cards, symbols, it's things that bring out a certain energy in you so that you can, rise above the things that you're up against.
I'm glad you said that. That these deities and these gods are all energies that brings out pieces of yourself. So
Mm-hmm.
now when we look at the system and why it's so corrupt, and we look at religion and why it's so corrupt, their God is Jesus. A lot of them go and this is their deity, Jesus
Mm-hmm.
Christ, Jesus Christ. But they're very corrupt. So what is your understanding of the energy behind the deity of Jesus Christ?
I don't have too big of a concept of him.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of gods, especially the Norse gods, that are typically believed to have been real people. They were strong, spiritually connected people that died and ascended beyond where we are. And that strength can be called on and utilized and honored in a lot of ways. And I think, Jesus is lumped into that. He is a healer and he was capable of a lot of good things. And it's admirable to want to be like him. Anyone as an energy healer, whether that's Reiki or yoga or even a shamanic practice, is doing what he did.
Now,
Maybe not as miraculously as the stories depict, but same with the Norse. Did they actually slay these big beasts and big dragons? No, but it's a part of the mythology. It's
Right.
part of their appeal.
Right.
So,
Now, what did you say about Buddha, the deity of Buddha? Well, Buddha has not really been looked at as a god, more so of, self-alignment. But what would you say about that and its utilization? Have you ever worked with that particular energy?
I haven't. No. Um, Buddha's kind of like the ascended master. It's like a godly person that wasn't necessarily a god, but they're kind of, deified in death with statues and, practices. And I don't know, I feel like anyone that is into meditation and yoga and like conscious breathing and, chakra work kind of vibe with Buddha in their own way. But yeah, I don't personally call on him. I don't personally have him around, but it isn't to say that he's not with me.
Now, what would you say about the deity of Zeus? When is it good to call on Zeus or use him in a practice or a ritual?
So the big thing with Zeus, and I know you and I have talked about this before, is that kind of striking down the opposition. It's seeing an obstacle in the distance and hurtling that lightning bolt at it. It's a very, I don't want to say domineering kind of energy, but it's adding some oomph. It's adding electricity to whatever you're doing to power through.
Now, how would you use these deities to protect yourself? Because a lot of people use witchcraft and dark energy to taunt other people. To they use the dark side of it to cause
Mm-hmm.
chaos. How would you describe using? How well, first of all, how would you describe dark energy versus to using the same energy to use it to protect yourself?
Well, it to me kind of goes to the temperance card, tarot. All energy, the good, the bad, the ugly. You can take a bad experience and a bad vibe and use it, whether that's a learning experience or, something to learn from, for one. But you just transmute it, you raise your power up to, well, I kind of call it matching, match your energy. If you're going to come at me in a certain way, I'm going to come at you in a certain way.
Balance,
Yes.
temperance.
Yes.
That's the balance of scales,
Yes. And there are.
it is changing power. Now, let's talk about magic. How does magic play a part in these deities, religious beliefs, and um, what we do? How would you compare? How would you bring the temperance for people to understand that what we do in religion is really not two of the what? It's really one and the same. How would you explain the temperance energy to the craft, the spells, the rituals, the magic, the mediumship energy? How would you balance that out for people that think that what we do is so different and beneath their religious beliefs?
I mean, it's all about a relationship with what you're working with. I don't see too crazy of a difference between a lot of, Catholic rituals of incense and, blessed wine. There's a connection to all of it, but it's you devoting your time and energy to something bigger than you. And that's really what it boils down to. And, me sitting in this room, lighting candles and pulling tarot cards and sitting with my statues of my people isn't all that different than going to church on Sunday and kneeling before the altar and, fumigating in the incense. It's a different face and a different look to the same thing.
Very much so. Now, Jordan, according to your own experiences, how has the quality of your younger experiences, how does that differ from now you having the knowledge of what all of this stuff means now versus your religious understanding to now what your spiritual or free thinking understanding of it is? What will be the difference in your life?
Well, the lack of fear, for one, you know, um, the lack.
Yes,
This, this temperance brings balance to this.
yes.
My spiritual path has healed me in ways that I never. My 5-year-old self is looking at me now and can't believe what's going on, you know?
How do
And
you feel? Do you still connect with your younger self a lot of times and think back to experiences that you had then and something happens in your life now that goes back and gives you closure to things you experienced when you were younger?
it does, but it's more so finding those people that have went through the same thing. You
Yes,
know, that's why our connection is as strong as it is.
so
And why
important.
there's that love there. It's because at a base, you know, all things aside, even if neither of us had chosen this path, we still went through what we went through.
Now, do you think that we chose this path?
No.
Over. I know I did. I mean, like
Yeah.
yourself, spent my life running from it because it wasn't what you called what it was normal. We weren't taught that it was a normal part of our physical experience in this physical realm on planet Earth. We were taught that no, it's supposed to be this way and it's supposed to be that way, and if it's not like this and it's not like that, then it's bad, it's wrong. Stay away from it. You need to shun it. This is the only way it's supposed to be, and a lot of that came with hierarchy,
Yeah.
the greed of wanting to control the masses because they know what we know now. They've always known it because they've learned it from the ancient that
Yeah.
were already, so they took that ancient knowledge, that esoteric wisdom, and they used that and they transmuted that magic. They used the same magic, they cast spells on people, and they created a grimoire called the Bible, and they used that to embed these things in you and to bind you to these one-sided beliefs so that people are veiled from what we know now. They don't want people to know this knowledge, that they want your heart to be broken. They don't want that restoration because that gives you your own power. And once you
Right.
walk into your own power, you don't need religion. You don't need a middleman telling you how to connect to God. You don't need, a middle person telling you how to heal. You don't need that because
Right.
now that knowledge is being restored to you that was rightfully yours in the first place. You were born with it.
Right.
And Jordan, I want to ask you about some of your childhood experiences. What was the main thing that happened that like scared the esophagus out of your throat? And you couldn't scream, you couldn't do nothing. What was one experience that you can remember that almost had your heart jumping out your chest?
I mean, aside from, the beast in the closet, the big glowing eyes and stuff that followed me for a long time. And it kind of goes back to the more, mediumship qualities of, seeing spirit. But I just remember being at the park. I was like 8 years old, and there was this little kid kicking a ball around, and I was on the swings, and he was kicking the ball, and I couldn't see through him, so I know he was alive. And this girl walked like out of one of the mobile homes. And she was wearing this nightgown, and it was like stained up. It looked like blood to me. And I looked at the kid with the ball, and I'm like, is that girl okay? Like, do we need to help her? And he like looked where I was looking, looked back at me and said, "What girl?" And I booked it. I mean, I ran home. I ran home. And
Wow.
just got through the door, and my mom's like, what the hell's going on? Like, what's happening? Who's after you? And I'm like, I have no idea. Our door starts shaking, like something was trying to get in, like banging on the door.
Wow.
And
My heart
my
stopped.
mom knew immediately, like, you can't make that shit up. You
No,
just
you're
can't.
not. What would you say to people who think that dead people don't exist or that people are dead? Because we know in tarot, death is not the end. It's only a transformation of something else to start while you end a chapter of something else. So now, as far as like me and you and the experiences that we've had with the dead, what would you say to people that don't believe that dead people can communicate?
I mean, I get where logic comes in, you know, and science, and I mean, even science has explained, you know, energy and the dead. There's facts that people just want to push to the side and ignore and forget are a thing. But
Exactly.
I mean, it's so old of a concept. Like early people, I mean, they barely had a functioning brain at the dawn of humanity, but they've known it to be true. And you know, as modern day has gone by, it's so easy to just forget it and pretend that science is the only way, but spirit is science. It's everything.
That's true. They hide a lot of our scientific. They hide the truth behind scientific terms like thermodynamics. Energy cannot be created or destroyed. You know,
Yeah,
if energy can't be created or destroyed, then how is it that people die and don't exist anymore? It doesn't make sense because what you call spirit and energy is the one and the same. You can you can't separate. You can't. You can't
right,
separate the two. So if energy never dies, then why do people in one breath say our loved ones is in heaven with God now, and then it goes to rest in peace? How you can't be doing it to a God is a living God. You can't be resting in peace because you're not asleep. You're not.
right,
You're still active. There's still an active life force that has moved on somewhere else, doing something different. It's just not in this reality anymore. So a lot of
right,
people are, this is why they're walking around in this energy, because they don't want to intake the natural way of viewing things and the natural way of accepting what is. They want to come up and create all of these. Oh, you're talking to dead people, then you must need a psychiatrist. Well, you talk to deities. Do you need one? You know. So
right.
uh, the thing is, we invoke our own energy, our own power into
Mm-hmm.
those deities, and we make them come alive. We make them real. We give them power.
Right.
In the Bible, it says where there's one or two more people, there's that the truth will bear witness. So that's energy.
Mm-hmm.
That's a clear description that our energy can come together and manifest. That's power.
Right.
Got 8 million people on the planet saying Jesus is God. People are going to make that deity real.
Right. And
This is how they,
Diane in the comments asked, you know, they do come and go, you know, as far as we are ready, you know, for that energy, and that's true. You know, you
yeah,
have to be open-minded and prepared, you know, for that experience. And a lot of people are shut out from it. You know,
yes.
a lot of mental and, you know, just there's a lot riding on
It a lot of division, a lot of separation. But the thing is, a lot of people are looking for this energy now. They're looking to be restored. They're
it.
looking
Right.
to get that separation from man and God out of the way. Because there is no separation. You are God. I am goddess. These deities come to us because there's something in us, that there's a very powerful energy in us that they want us to magnify and bring out and work on, because it's something at that time in our lives that we may need that specific principle to make a breakthrough, or come through a situation, or to attain some sort of height of success. We need that deity and its principle to manifest in the flesh, and we're the only people that can do that. We're the only people that can bring those manifestations into the physical, because we're already here in the physical.
Right. And that's another thing with spellcraft, you know, it's I'm gonna light this candle to this deity and I'm gonna solve all my problems. And that is not how it works. It
Don't work.
is pulling in that archetype, that strength, you know. Hecate doesn't necessarily make things happen for me, but she embodies the qualities of what I do, you know?
Exactly.
I'm a tarot reader, you know? I am supposed to peel back the layers of people's energy, help
That's
them
right.
see the truth, and she is the archetype that does that. And it resonates with me. So I'm sitting at that table doing a reading, and I'm looking up there, and she is looking down at me. I feel power from that.
Yes. Yes. Well, because of you, I want to let y'all know, the people who's going to see this later, George is the reason why I started to gain more understanding about deities. Okay, me and Jordan have worked together. The Jordan is very powerful. I'm telling you, the man is powerful. He don't like when I blow him up like that, but let me tell y'all something. I give credit. My credit is this. Okay, I'm not going to down and underplay something that does not deserve to be down and underplayed. Jordan is powerful. He knows what he's doing. He's very well connected. Okay, but as I connected with Jordan, he holds the key to so many different gates. He opened up one of those gates for me, and I didn't even know he did that. So I'm hearing a voice and it's talking to me, and all I know is it didn't sound like what I normally hear from the ancestors, right? I heard somebody saying to me, Nairi, Nairi. And I'm like, well, maybe this is an ancestor I ain't met yet,
Yeah.
okay? So this energy sent me on a mission. And I was confused because I was like, well, they ain't never told me. Now, usually when I have something spiritual work to do, the ancestors, they tell me what to do. They tell me what items that I'm going to need to do what needs to be done. This particular time, it was weird because it was something I hadn't experienced. So, of course, I took it to the HWIC, the head witch in charge, which is Jordan. I said,
Yeah.
well, I don't know what ancestor this is, but this is what they told me to do. Jordan said, that sounds like well, where did she come from? Well, why she isn't that a Greek god? Because now you got to remember, I'm coming from religion, y'all. So in my mind, I'm on this black power trip. I
Mm-hmm.
the European deities, those now I don't have rights to that. Right? Well, I was proven completely wrong
Yep.
because of my connection to Jordan. Because me and Jordan realized at some point in this journey that we had a connection, a past lifetime connection, as some type of relatives or some sort of connection. And I'm going strongly with relative connection. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so we shared the same ancestral rights to things, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is why Hecate came to me, because she gave me the understanding about Jesus and Zeus and all these other deities. So I'm communicating with this deity. All right, I
Yep.
communicate with Hecate. She communicates with me. She started it. I ain't got nothing to do with it. She started it, and it was because of Jordan. Jordan, this is all your fault. But uh, Hecate does communicate with me, and she gave me some very, very informative. I mean, you learn constantly on this journey. And this is how
Mm-hmm.
you guys will always be able to tell the real mediums from the fake ones. Because if they're not learning from their connection to these deities, if these deities are not teaching them how to spiritually maneuver the energy around them to complete or accomplish what they need done, to remove anything that needs to be removed, these people are they're scammers. If they're not learning, you cannot learn these things in a book.
Mm-mm.
You can't learn it by
No.
nobody else trying to sit you down and talk to you. You're not going to learn it in the classroom or on the chalkboard. It has to be your journey. It has to be your assignment,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So when Hecate came to me and she talked to me about Jesus, she told me that Jesus was a God of persecution. I said, is that why our people go through what we go through as a culture? She said, yes. I said, well, why on earth won't they listen? Why do they keep going to this God? She said, because your people are pathetic. She said, because your people are pathetic. Now Hecate, y'all heard it from Jordan. She's a goddess of truth and justice. So she doesn't bite her tongue. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was funny because I share her sentiments. I think it's quite pathetic to keep putting your energy and invoking your energy in a God that's not saving you from slavery, a God that's not saving you from racism, a God that's not saving you from being put and forced into drug-stricken neighborhoods and low budget school systems, and where you can't do anything but turn to prostitution and drugs and jail. Why would you keep serving a God that's not helping you out of those? This is what deities do.
Yeah.
Deities are supposed to help you through all of this. And if your deity is not doing that for you, then guess what? That deity is not working for you. So all the
Right.
energy you're provoking into that deity, you're giving it power to help the people that's using that deity against you. And we know who that is. The oppressors. They use the Jesus deity to oppress people of color, period. Or people that doesn't share their financial or wealthy status. And it doesn't matter what color you are at that point, they don't care. Because it's about class. You got race class and then you have financial class. If you poor and German, they're going to treat you like they treat a black person. Period. They don't
Right.
care. So they're using this deity in the
Mm-hmm.
White House. Oh, we're brothers in Christ. But they are ambassador. They use this as an ambassador to go in all these other places and preach their way of how they want people to be. This is their culture. So for us as people to keep using that deity and wonder why our sons are being murdered cold blood in the street, and wonder why we go to church and it's so messy and the pastor sleeping with 5 different wives and all the women in there mad jealous of each other because they don't have a husband. That's not the love they teach of this deity. So
Right.
clearly, the deity possesses different qualities than what we want to give it to. Now, I won't. What I will say is that I won't take away what that quality, what the quality of that deity is supposed to be, which is love, forgiveness, kindness. You can have that. But if that deity is being, and if that deity has been sent to you to invoke that in you to make you docile from defending yourself, then yes, that is very pathetic of you to continue to keep on invoking your energy and your power and casting your own spells on yourself, giving that deity domain over your life when you clearly
Right.
see what it's doing to you. You
Right.
know, and Jordan, I appreciate you so much. You've given so much clarity on this. You brought it home in so many ways. I don't think you realize until you look back on it and you realize how important your voice has been in this. I love you so much. You've taught me so much. I know this is just the beginning of a journey. I definitely want you to talk about Wick and Candle because that y'all know that y'all my favorite people. Y'all my favorite store. This is a shaman as well. He's did some work on me and helped me get some things balanced in my life. And let me tell y'all, it was a powerful, powerful experience. I don't even know how to explain that in words. What he did to me, I could see what he was doing with my eyes closed. When he did this to me, I got hot and I felt fire.
Mm.
I said, Jordan, I'm getting hot. I see a ring of fire. What was your response? What were you doing when you did this, Jordan?
So the first thing we do in a session is I open my eighth chakra. So there are 7 chakras, but with the shamanic path, we utilize an eighth, and it's right above our crown. It's kind of floating, up here above our heads. And we go up and out, and I expand my energy field over you. The Peruvian shamanism that I'm attuned to was all about the fire tribe. They were fire people that tossed their worries, their pain, their shame into the fire. And when I opened that over you, I took you to my bonfire. And you could feel that heat and that warmth. And my entire room heats up like it's hot in here right now, just talking about it.
Tell y'all something. Jordan did not explain none of this to me. He just said, Nairi, come in here, let's do that. I want to see how, I just want to, feel my way through something right quick. Okay, hey.
Yeah.
When he did it, he didn't explain none of this to me. All right, I trust Jordan, so I didn't need an explanation. He said, let's do it like that. Okay. But when he did this, I didn't know what he was doing because my eyes was closed. I was laying on the bed. I was laying on the table. But whatever, when he did this, I felt and I saw the fire. He didn't tell me that. And when it was over with, I said, Jordan, I feel, well, while we were in session, everything he did, I felt it. He was pulling something out of me. I said, Jordan, I feel something in my sacral chakra. It's coming out. It's coming out. I felt it. I said, it looked like a caterpillar. He explained to me what it is. He did something over my crown chakra. I felt something pull, like my brain was being snatched out of my skull. Let me tell y'all, those that don't believe that you have spiritual cords still connected to you from past lives, from your childhood, that could still be connected to you from your parents, from your grandparents, or whatever ancestor. These are cords that will still affect you in every other lifetime until you cut them and burn them
Yeah.
and get rid of them. They will affect you. When Jordan did this spiritual operation on me, I started wanting to date again. I ain't wanted to date in the whole. I've been out of these, you know. I ain't got time. You know what I'm saying? When Jordan did that to me, it balanced my energy and it brought me to a place of wanting to be more in my feminine, dwell more into my feminine energy. Because before then, I was like, ready to fight everybody. Okay, so yes, it does work. Jordan is very powerful. So if any of you guys need shaman surgery, you're trying to get over an old ex, you're trying to get an old lover out of your system, you're trying to get some childhood traumas out of your system, please, 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 on everything, y'all. I will not endorse anything that is not real. I don't do that. Check my record. I got a big mouth. I don't hold nothing back. I ain't scared of nobody. Okay, and I'll fight anybody. Okay, I will fight the police too. I don't care. No, I'm just joking. I'm just joking. But what the point I'm making is, I would not be endorsing this like I do if I hadn't experienced it and allowed it to be experimented on myself, and it does work. It works, y'all. Jordan, Wick and Candle, the all of the Wick and Candle family. I love y'all so much.
We love you.
I really, really made this journey so more than worth it. Like, I'm glad I was chosen for this journey.
Yeah.
Because if I would have known years ago that I would have been led here, it's all been worth it. I feel like I found my tribe. I know that this is the beginning. We have a long way to go from here.
Oh, we
We
do.
got people to connect. Yes, and I love you guys so much. Thank you for being so supportive. And Jordan, is there anything you want to leave the collective people with that's going to hear this later? And then if you want to leave us with an energy to close us out.
Sure. Well, I was going to loop back to Jackie asked a question in the comment of how did it feel for you breaking away from the church and discovering deities? Like, how did that feel for you? Because people want to know.
It was not only freedom, but it was something that I feel gave me more power. Because now that division that I learned in religion to shun anything to deal with deities, they're not real, they're mythical. That's true, but they are real. They are real because they have principles. So I was able to remove that sword. I was able to remove that sword, and I was able to get a higher perspective of things that was only to my benefit. So now I know when I need somebody's ass kicked, I can go so I can pay and tell her I got some lightweight issues I need her to handle, and
Yep.
I ain't from jail, okay? No, no. But then I know that if I need to remove anything, financial obstacles, that I can go to Ogun. See, now I know how to use deities.
Yeah.
See, so it was a freedom for me, and it opened me up even more because coming from something that you were traumatized from, you don't want no parts of it. So
For
it
real.
has opened me up and took away that he removed a sword from my heart. He removed the sword from my third eye. He removed that. It empowered me. I feel very much more empowered now that I know how to use these principles to my benefit.
Yeah. Awesome. And, what I would say to anyone else watching this is just pay attention to what feels right to you. If you're at a metaphysical shop and you're seeing statues and you're getting overwhelmed, just take a deep breath. Just feel it out. Look for the animals. Look for the symbols, The
That's right.
owls, the birds, the swords, the shields. Like, whatever vibes with you and research, Don't go out buying every statue. Don't be like me. Don't be like me. I've owned way too many things because I thought it resonated in the moment, and maybe it did. But just take your time, research. Look up their offerings. I think we're gonna have to do a part 2 to this video.
Going to be next because a lot of people, they say that you giving offerings to your loved ones and your ancestors is bad, but then they'll go to the cemetery and they'll leave flowers, they'll leave cards and candy, they'll pour out liquor, whatever that person so yeah, I think we're gonna have to do a part 2, y'all. So we're gonna leave this here. We're gonna let Jordan close us out with the energy, and he's gonna give you his third eye power on that energy and leave y'all with some good advice. Let's go, Jordan.
Going.
Yeah, and then I have my stuff together because my whole little background is just slapped it. I've been having problems with this side. It's this side right here, and I something keeps trying to snatch it down. Well, I'm having that. I already know what it is. I already know it, but we got this. I'm gonna have to give him. I'm gonna have to call the girl Heck up and be like, yo, Heck, I got some beef over. I'm gonna need you come. I'm gonna need you come holler at my problem and get rid of it. No, I'm just talking.
Right. Parting with the 9 of Wands. So, your experiences may feel like they've beaten you down. You may feel like you're on your last leg, or you've lost a leg in this process, but everything that you've been through up until this moment is your new strength. Find the strength in it. No religious views or background. Yeah, maybe they sawed your leg off, but you'll grow a new one, and you'll make it happen.
I shaded that. And the 9 of Wands is also perseverance, y'all. That means that you've been through a lot, but you've been able to overcome everything that has tried to destroy you. You have been able to still come out on top like the warrior that you are. So remember that. Jordan, is there any last words that you have for the collective until the next time we come back with a part 2?
I just thank everyone that chimed in and, was here for this conversation. It means a lot. And I think in a part 2 we'll do, ancestors and making altars for your deities and what that looks like.
And a lot of people also want to know about that as well. So, Jordan, please tell everybody where you are, how they can get in touch with you, how they can find Wick and Candle, the phone number, everything. Leave all the information.
Yep. So we're Wick and Candle. We're in Livonia on Plymouth Rd. Senate Coney Island. If you're local, you have usually heard of the Senate. But I do tarot readings. I teach tarot here. I do intention candle dressing, spell bottle creation, or manifesting. And I do spiritual mentoring. Flash classes, or you are confused about something and you want my undivided attention. I provide that. And I do the shaman practice.
Could you tell them what the shaman practice entails? A little bit about it.
So it's energy healing, but it's on 4 levels. It's physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. And we can cut negative attachments, cords, dive into past lives that might be affecting your present, and just setting up your energy to make a better future.
All right, and what's the address to Wick and Candle? Because I'm going to post it, but just say it in case somebody's going to jot it down.
Yeah, so that's 34393 Plymouth Road.
34393 Plymouth Road. Yo, I got that. Livonia, Michigan. Livonia, Michigan. And also, what's you guys' phone number in case anybody want to call and order a statue or a appointment?
Yeah, so that's 734-855-4215. Sounds about right.
You're going to have to spend in Coney Island talking about, yes, I need a reading.
Yeah, no. Pretty sure. 734-855-4215. That sounds right.
All right. Well, y'all heard it here. Talking Tarot Season 2 kickoff with Jordan Kinzer and the Wick and Candle Tribe. Y'all, we will be back for a part 2. So be expecting this. If anybody missed this, it's going on YouTube. Once I edit it, it's not going to stay on Instagram, y'all. Only a snippet. All right. So thank y'all for joining in. And until the next time, y'all, join us on the Talking Tarot Show.
All
Peace.
right.